other like quick tricks and little tips to show you guys before we get started. Alrighty, so when you are ready to register, all you need to do is search UIS self-service. Obviously, for me, it's going to be my very top one because I do visit it quite often. So you're going to click that. You're also going to click our university. I always like to say look for the logo because it's kind of hard to miss. And then it may actually, it's going to ask you to, actually, we'll start from fresh. It'll ask you to log in with your net ID and password. And so obviously I've saved mine. And then you're going to, since I'm on the school's Wi-Fi, it didn't ask me to do the dual mobile. If you're accessing it from home or a computer on campus, it's going to ask you to authenticate. So definitely make sure that you have that dual mobile, which most likely, since you guys are all online students, you will need to set up the dual mobile. And then you're going to find the card that says Student Services. If for whatever reason you are logging in and you can't see the Student Services card, you could always locate all cards and it'll pop up here the cards that you have that you're eligible to use. So then once you locate the Student Services card, you're going to hit class registration. And one thing I always advise students to check before they actually register for the classes is to check for the Prepare for Registration tab. And that's going to show you if you have any holds, if you're eligible to register. Obviously, you want to select the semester, the term that we're going into, so it should be fall. And so it'll say your student status permits registration, your standing is good, and you have no holds. If I were to have a hold, it would be red and it would say the hold that it is. There are different types of holds that you could have, so you would just have to look and see what type of hold it is. If it's an advising hold, obviously reach out to your advisor. If it's an admissions hold for whatever reason, you would contact our admissions department. And when in doubt, if you're not sure who to contact, you could always contact our office and we can point you in the right direction of who to go to in order to discuss how to get that hold removed. Alrighty, so once you check that and you're all in good standing, so you're able to register, you go back to the register tab, and then you're going to register for classes. And then it's going to, again, have you select the term. And then one thing that will pop up, because I've already registered for the fall, is you will get a agreement, which is this little consent. It's just confirming that you have read the FERPA educations, you understand that any costs that are associated with taking our classes, you will pay. So you will hit I agree to pay all charges, and then you'll hit accept. And then that's when it will allow you to actually register for your classes. Alrighty. So one um, trick that I use is I always try to research by CRNs because it's just so much easier because some of our classes we offer so many different selections. And obviously, since you guys are online students, we want to make sure that you are registering for online classes because if not, then you will get assessed a different tuition fee, which we do not want. Um, so a lot of the times your advisors will hopefully, when they give you your advising plan, will go ahead and give you the courses with the CRN. So you can, for example, I have a course here that I'm going to type in the CRN 5.7, and then you could add as many CRNs as you want. And then once you are ready, you'll just hit add to summary, and then it's going to pop on your screen at the right hand corner. It's going to say red pin, or it's not going to be red. Sorry, it's going to be a gray color. It's going to say pending. Once you are ready to, once you've added all your classes, you can hit the submit button. And then this is another tip that I wanted to show. So that's why I selected this class. Some classes will have certain requirements that you need to fulfill before you could register for this classes. So, for example, this class is an internship class. You will need to reach out to the our EOL department who handles internships or any type of they do the internships. If you were trying to register for an English class and this is department approval required, you would have to reach out to the English department. If you're doing a management information system class, you would have to reach out to the management information system. So just kind of look at what kind of class you are trying to register for, and then reach out to your advisor in that department to ask permission. Once they give you permission, you can go back in and register for that class. And then, so I'm just going to remove it. So in the meantime, while you're waiting for that approval, you can just hit remove and it'll be set. If all your classes are green like these, you are all set to go. You've been registered for them. You'll hit once you as long as you hit submit and they're green, you are all set to go. So there, like I said, there are a couple of error messages that you can get. You just kind of have to see what type of hold it is. There can be a prerequisite is needed for this class, department approval, advisor approval needed. You'll just have to reach out to the respectable person for that type of hold. And like I said, if everything is green, you are good to go. All right. And then if for whatever reason you need to increase your credit hours before the late registration period, which I will talk about that in a little bit as well, you are actually able to go ahead and do update those credit hours in the self-service as long as that course is a variable hour course, which I will explain in a little bit on how to find out if that class is a variable credit hour that you can do. Alrighty, so I'm just going to do that class again because I know it's a variable one. So I'm going to search for it and then you can just go over the credit hours. Since I'm not fully registered for it yet, it won't let me. But you're able to go in and go ahead and update the credit hours that you need. Because it'll automatically default to the lowest credit hour available for that class. So in this case, the lowest for this course was a 2, and I believe it goes all the way to 12. So it depends on what your advisor is recommending. Alrighty, and then I mentioned that we do have a late registration period, and in order to find that, I'm going to pull up my other screen real quick and pull up the withdrawal and drop policy, which has a lot of important dates. Fall, because fall's coming up. 2025. Okay. All right. So at any time after the late registration period or after the late registration period starts, this is where it'll take a little bit more steps for you to be able to register for the class. So for example, let me find out when the late registration period is. I thought it was on this sheet. I apologize. So once the late registration period starts, you will need to first contact the instructor of the program, or not program, the instructor of the class. Ask them, can you attend the class? And sometimes it's a little bit of a back and forth conversation with the instructor to make sure that if you register late, would you be able to make sure that you complete all the tasks? And then once they give you approval, then your advisor will go ahead and input that approval in banner that you're able to take it. And then you will need to then email our office at registrar@uis.edu. Give us your UIN the course, the course title, course number, and then the CRN, because again, some classes do have multiple sections. So we want to make sure that we are going to register you for the correct class. So once that happens, you'll get a confirmation from one of our staff members that says you are registered, and then it will take, it varies um, on how quick the course will show up in Canvas. It could take just a couple minutes, but then it could take a day or two. So you'll just have to keep an eye out for that. And then if when you do a late registration, that will potentially cause a $25 late fee. That is only if that is your first class that you're registering for that semester. If you're registered for a class already, you should not get the late fee. It also will cause a late register, or not late, it'll cause a reassessment of your tuition and fees, because obviously you're adding another class to your schedule, so you will have to pay for taking that class. So just be advised that, if you do a late registration, not only not only will you pay the tuition you've had before, but you'll also pay any extra tuition that comes with that class. Alrighty. So does anybody have any questions about registering for classes? Like I said, if you have any issues at all, you can reach out to our office. Your advisor is a really good resource to help you register. So please, if you do have any issues, please make sure that you register, or please make sure that you reach out to us. All right. So I know I talked about, yeah, absolutely. I can show you how to do the change the credit hours. So if you are changing your credit hours and your course is a variable credit hour, you should just be able to have it in your summary, and then you'll be able to click on the hours tab. Obviously, I can't switch the credit hours because this class isn't a variable credit hour, but you would just click it, it would highlight, and then you would be able to switch it to whatever credit hour that your advisor is telling you, pending it's within that credit hour range. And then, so was that helpful? I'm sorry, I don't have like an actual example to be able to switch that. I can try and see if I can or not. So I talked about registering for adding classes. Now I want to kind of quickly go over withdrawing, because sometimes you do have to withdraw from your classes. Um, so this one kind of gets a little bit more tricky. There's a lot of more information to go with it. So if you need to withdraw from a class or withdraw from the entire semester, there's two ways. So the first way is if you're just dropping one class, what you do is you go back into self-service, and then you'll see your summary of your courses. You'll just go to action, and it's going to say web drop course, and then you're going to hit submit, and then that will take it off your schedule. And you could do that for all but one of your classes. If you do need to withdraw completely from the semester, you'll go in to the self-service, you'll drop all but one class, and then once you have dropped your all but one class, you will go back to the self-service, and then you will go to the home page, and then you're going to click cancel registration. So that is a form that you fill out. It's just asking you what term are you taught, or what term are you wanting to withdraw. And then we'll get an email to our office, and then we will process that, and you will get a confirmation that you've been completely withdrawn from the semester. Also note that even if you completely withdraw from, like, for example, the fall semester, you will be able to register for the spring semester. You don't have to do any special thing. Students, depending on if you're a grad, undergrad, you have so many years to complete your degree, then you automatically get a time ticket for that. I believe undergrad it is 7 years, and then undergrad, or no, sorry, undergrad is 7 years, grad is 6 years. So even if you withdraw once, if you even if you withdraw from one semester, you'll still be able to register for the next semester. And again, that is just you just go in the self-service. Um, Now the fun part with it being a little bit tricky, this is where we always recommend our students to check the drop and withdrawal policy. So depending on the time of semester, students, if you're partially withdrawing, which means dropping all, but you'll still partial withdrawal is you're still going to be in a class after you withdraw from one class. So you could potentially get a partial refund to your account pending it's under these deadlines. So for full term, obviously is the entire semester. First half, you must do it by August 28th, and then the last half you must do it by August 29th. Um, so if you try to withdraw from a class after any of these deadlines, you will not get a partial refund. You will So that's a lot of students don't realize that they won't get a refund. Now, on the opposite end, if you're completely withdrawing from the university, in order to not pay the entire tuition, you will have to drop by these dates here. So let's say if I want to take the fall semester off, I withdraw, um, or something happens where I know I won't be able to complete the semester, I withdraw by September 8th. I will be responsible for paying that 20% of my tuition. So withdrawing completely, you will still be financially responsible for part of your tuition. It just really depends on at what point of the semester you're in, and then what sort of classes you're taking. So both of my classes are for full term, so I'd have to go based off of the full term class. And then obviously if you're in a first half or second half, you can kind of look at the bottom part of this chart to kind of see exactly what you would be thinking of or what you would potentially have to pay. And then there is a pro rata fee of $50. So that would be something that you would have to look at. And then I always like to point out the after certain dates of this certain dates of the semester, you will your grade, if you withdraw, it'll be a W on your transcript. It really depends on when you decide to withdraw from that class, if it'll be recorded as a W or if it'll be recorded as just a cancel. If you have any questions on that, obviously you can reach out to our office. I know it's kind of a lot and there's a lot of numbers. Does anybody have any questions about the withdrawal policy? No? Perfect. Righty. All right, so the other thing that I wanted to point out is I'm pretty sure you guys have probably heard a lot about the self-service. Once the semester or ends, or even if you have midterms, you will receive a email from the registrar, which is Leah Smith. If you, I apologize, she's actually in another meeting, or else I would have her join in and just say hello. So when it's time to view your grade, you'll get an email from the registrar, and there is a direct link in that email. Or if you always want to go back and if you don't have that email, again, you'll log into self-service, you'll hit view grades, and then it'll have you select the term, and then that'll have your final grades and also your midterm grades. They typically, once a semester ends, grades are due the Wednesday after that, and then we make sure that the grades are posted that Friday after the grades are due. Alrighty, and then If students need to order a unofficial transcript, so we have two types of transcripts. We have unofficial and official. Current students are the only ones that could actually get an unofficial transcript. So if you need to order one, I know a lot of people when they get close to graduating, their job would like them to provide an unofficial transcript. Again, you'll go to self-service, you'll go to homepage, you're going to go to registration and general information page. Oh, sorry. You're going to go to academic history and you're going to hit view academic history. And you could also view your grades that way too. There's multiple ways you can get to your grades. So then it's going to ask you what level. I'm only doing my graduate program here, so I have to hit grad. And then you'll just hit view academic web and you're going to submit. And then you can print um, the unofficial transcript from there. All right, so that's what it'll look like. And then if you do need an official transcript, you could always go to our website to order that, order an electronic or paper copy, or you could always, if you're local, which I'm pretty sure most of you are probably not, you can stop in our office to order it. Right. Okay. So that is about the registration and kind of ordering the transcript pieces. Anybody have any questions? I just have a couple more small items and then I'll let you guys go. Alrighty. So I talked about a lot of the main part of our office. We also deal with graduation. So what our office does in particular for registration is we are the ones, we have a graduation team that will kind of review and make sure that everyone is meeting all their degree requirements. We also do that. You'll probably hear a lot of times from your advisor to check your degree audits. So degree audit is where you can check your progress of your progress of your degree. And then what else do we do? And then we also do change of curriculum. So if you were deciding to do a change of curriculum, again, you would go to the self-service. You're going to go to the home page, and then you're going to hit change a curricula. And then this could be where you're changing your major, um, adding a major, removing a major. If you're a grad student, this is where you would add your certificates, and you could also do adding or removing your minors if you have a minor. Again, if you have any questions about that, you could reach out to our office or your advisor. Right, I already talked about withdrawing, and then now I just want to kind of take you to our website. So I mentioned earlier that we do transcripts. So really, if you need basically any information that you need from our office, you can definitely find online. So you'll just search registrar and then it'll on the side, it'll come up with everything that we do. And then so there's transcripts, there's enrollment verifications, degree audit, like I mentioned earlier, tuition and fees. If you have any questions on your tuition and fees, reach out to our office. Myself and Leah Smith are the ones that can kind of explain them a little bit more in detail. Because I know sometimes it does get a little bit tricky on trying to look at them and understand them because it took me a while to understand them. Righty. And then, like I mentioned, the degree audits, you can go here to view it, and then you'll just hit enter degree audit system. Obviously, mine's going to look a little bit different. I'm going to use myself as an example. And you can pull this as many times as you want. And then it's going to pop up your program. You're going to hit run. And then you can select either that. So this is for my certificate. So obviously green means you completed it, blue is in progress, and then red is that you're still needed to complete that. So I will actually pull my actual degree. Yeah, there we go. And so it'll look a little bit different for everybody. I know undergrads, they have a little bit more requirements. So your advisor should really be looking at this with you at all times to kind of be able to show your progress in the program, as well as you guys could also check it at any time as well. All right, I know I kind of threw a lot of information at you guys. Does anybody have any questions at all? Again, most of this information you can find online at registrar at uis.edu. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. Perfect. Well, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I was glad to get you guys out right on time. Again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let us know. Stop if you can stop by. I'll put the our contact information in the chat so you guys could have that. Because obviously most online students will do their communications through email or phone call. So, and I'll also put my personal email in there just in case if you have any questions at all. If you've already met with your advisor, go ahead and email them. Sometimes they will, because especially this time of season with all the orientations, they do forget to remove those holds. So I would just reach out to them and say, hey, I met with you. Can you please update my advisor hold so I can register for classes this afternoon? Perfect. And then with that being said, I will be hosting a registration help desk this afternoon at 12 from 12:30 to 4. If you haven't registered and you're going to register and you have issues, it'll be on Zoom call. You guys can stop in. It is kind of where there be a wait room. So if you are trying to register, and you need help and you're just sitting in the wait room, please wait because we are assisting another student at that time. Just obviously with some information, we don't want to have just a whole bunch of people on call. So we do take it, you guys, one by one. So that will be open from 12 to 4 today. Righty. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, just reach out, okay?